Ayan, hello everyone. Good afternoon and happy Thursday to every viewer we have out there. I'm pretty sure na most of our viewers are, watching from our Facebook Live, from our YouTube Live, and even from your own career portal. So I'm very, very happy and excited to, introduce our speaker for today. And I'm sure you're also very excited para, malaman kung paano nga ba natin ma-ace yung first interview natin as a fresh graduate. Before anything else, though, I'd like to share with you, before I formally introduce our speaker here, I'd like to remind everyone here to, get the most out of this event. Kasi very important to and, very timely, especially now na graduation season na. And I we would like to, get to know you also. If you could share your location and where you're studying from. You can just type it in your comment box there. Yeah, and then of course you have to listen and participate sa ating session for today. And I'm sure marami tayong key takeaways from our event here from Lyra, which who will be sharing some tips and tricks later on after this brief introduction. And of course, you may apply to the open roles that we have sa ating career portal. I'm pretty sure na most of our participants here already know that they have their own career portal. But for those of you who do not have yet, you may just a quick refresher sa ating lahat dito na if you're looking for an opportunity or if you're starting to hunt for a job, you may do so by just clicking just by searching sa ating career portal. And once you click on that one, you can see all of the job opportunities available for you here. And of course, if you wanted to stalk yung mga employers na you're eyeing on, you may just do so by clicking also the employers button that we have here sa ating career portal. So I can see people from Luzon, from Cebu. There, hello everyone. So, are you excited for this session? If you are, please type letter P if you're excited. Ayan, I can see our responses coming in. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. Her name is Lyra. Lyra is actually a lifelong learner, as everyone here is. And she's also a motivational speaker and an advocate of servant leadership. So she has more than a decade of experience as HR practitioner and skilled in all facets of human resources. So I'm sure na marami talaga tayo magiging, questions for Lyra as nag-head pala siya ngayon ng sa HR. And also, she's adept in module creation, events, management, audit, and planning. She's also a certified transformational coach, a safety officer, first aider, certified HR and management professional who has various certifications in, medyo marami to guys, CHRP, CLTD, CRA, CMC, Lean Sigma, MPM, among others. So, hindi pa pala lahat yun yung certifications niya. And also, she's the head of HR of a leading crisis management and peer consulting firm here in the country. She's also doing consultancy to various companies to help with their recruitment, training, legal matters, and management concerns. She conducted several workshops on essential skills in productivity, grit, safe work environment, work values, culture hacking, leadership, team building, customer service, employee engagement, and she mentors aspiring HR professionals, conducts training, and teaches students on her spare time. Very mouthful. Very mouthful ang ating introduction for Lyra, but I'm pretty sure na, we can learn a lot from her. So without further ado, Lyra, take it away.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Lyra. Thank you so much for that introduction. Oo nga, no, very mouthful. So, let's make this fun, engaging, and at the same time make this memorable for everyone, okay? So, I know most of you, if not all, will be on their last leg of their schooling and will graduate in college, or master's degree or maybe in K to 12. So, what's your next step? Okay, so what now? After your graduation, what will happen? Let me, dear, may I have the? Are you sharing my presentation as well? Thank you so much. Okay, so as mentioned, you are nearing your graduation or you are already a graduate or maybe you are already in your internship program and wants to, you know, be ready for your interview and getting a job. So after your graduation, what will be your next step? Actually, there's a limited option for new graduate depending on your status in life, depending on your responsibility with your family or yourself. I can say you have more or less five options. So let me just discuss briefly those options. Number one, to study again. But most of you, I'm sure, will not want to take on another study after your 4 to 6 years in college, right? It's very taxing. So I'm pretty sure that you want to venture on another, aspect of your life. Number two would be take a sabbatical and do whatever you want. Travel, okay? Learn new cultures or soul searching for new adults. So if you have the money or if you have the resources, you can do so. That's very good as well. Some of you will also do or join family business. And some may create a new business because there's a lot of young entrepreneurs right now, and it came from millennials to Gen Z, no? Yung mga milk tea shop or IT company, startup company, tech company. So usually ang nag-start niyan mga bata, mga new young adults natin ngayon. Pero may isang option, and that is get a job. To get a job or find a job. So next slide please. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so next slide. Yan. Okay, so I will give you some tips. As a fresh graduate, I will give you some tips. Actually, I will give you seven major tips and then sub tips as well. So number one would be background investigation. Okay, so as a fresh graduate, you have to be ready. You have to be ready for your next big interview. You have to be ready to be sure that you are prepared in all aspect of your emotional, physical, mental health, because when you do interview, it means that you are entering the phase of young adult career career wise, no? So when you are doing background investigation as an HR, we also do background investigation on you, but you as a candidate or applicant, you need to do background investigation now as well. Number one, you have to research the company. Okay, so that is Geyser Maklang. I came from I'm from Geyser Maklang right now. It is a leading PR and crisis management company, as well as we are building advocacy and ecosystem to digitalize the Philippines. Okay, so why do you need to research the company? Doing research will help you contextualize your interview answers. Okay, because what if the industry that you will be choosing for or choosing to enter is something related to construction. So if you do not research your company, you will have a hard time answering some question because there are some pertinent questions and jargon specific to that industry or company. You have to also understand that your background, qualification, and achievement is also related to the skills or the company that you want to enter to. Okay. Number two would be to study the job description. Of course, you will not just apply, send or click apply when you see a job post. You have to study if you are really qualified for those positions. Studying description or job role help you prepare to explain the fitness of yourself to the role. Okay, You need to pay attention what are the necessary experience and skill set. But you as a new graduate, it means that you have to be sure that your extracurricular activities as well as your out of school activities are related, or maybe your experience in life is related to the job that you are experience you want to in the future, as well as maybe your course. But right now, because of the emerging different industries and also emerging technology, somehow course may not be related in some other your course may not be related to the one you are applying for. But don't worry, as long as you think that you fit the job description, that is okay. That is okay. As a fresh graduate, sabi nga nila, 'di ba, it's very hard to for a company to choose you. So sometimes ikaw talaga ang magpipilit sa sarili mo, but not in a bad way, don't get me wrong, okay? As long as you fit for the job, as long as you can do the job, why not? Okay, you are building your career, and maybe your career lies on you getting this specific job or specific role in a company for you to land your dream job. Okay, next will be to check the website and current news, of course, because you have to understand some company will they have a website, and their website composed of their BMB, the vision, the mission, and the values, which is very important because you have to know if their mission, vision, and values is related to your own mission and vision in life, your own prospect in life, and also is it something that you want to advocate for. Because if you enter a company and you are not happy, it will show. If you are very excited to join the company and you know that your vision and mission is aligned to theirs, then you will be happy, going to office, or maybe doing your work, or maybe connecting with your office mates. So you have to check on those. Why do we also need to check the current news? Because as you know, it is very important right now if your company, especially those that are not very familiar, or not very known in the industry, that they are a legitimate company, right? You don't want to be associated with companies that are not really, DTI approved or SEC approved. You have to ensure that the company that you will enter is legitimate. Okay. So next slide, please. Okay. As you can see here, you know, I know it's quite funny because some of the interviews, or sorry, the posting that I saw this past 2 years, some is related to the picture on the right. Okay, when job wants you to have 10 years of work experience before the age of 22, right? Minsan magugulat ka eh, why do I see job experience but they require a fresh graduate, right? So those are the absurdity of the situation. But sometimes the experience that they want is not really related to work experience. Sometimes your internship may also account for an experience. Your extracurricular activities may account to experience, and some of you, um, even though you are a fresh graduate, you already experience as a part-time or maybe as a working student, you already have a job. So you can put that in your CV or your resume. And then the picture on the left depict um, a very nice, very funny, but somehow a true scenario, no? Kasi when doing interview, some of the interview will ask, why should we hire you, right? But at your unconsciously your mind states that because you are hiring. And some of the applicants that I've interviewed before, they they put this into context naman, parang, ma'am, because you're hiring and I believe you are, I am right in this position. Pero come to think of it, right? Totoo naman, we're hiring. Pero the question is, it's about you. It's not about the company. It's about you. What can you say about yourself or accomplishment or achievement? You can brag your achievements for us to know if you are suitable for the job. Okay? Next slide, please. So next big tip is excite. What do you mean by excite? Ang cute, no? Nakaka-excite talaga ako whenever I see minions. Talagang natutuwa ako, napapangiti ako. So next slide, please. Okay. Create excitement before the interview. Hype it up. Okay. So anong meaning natin dito? Imagine that you get the job. Because when you get the job, you will feel empowered already. 'Di ba? When you saw a job post and you think that you are suitable for that job, you imagine, what if I get that job? How will I feel? You will feel happy and you will become excited, right? Then better if you can share it, better your if you can share your upcoming interview or events to your family or friends. Why? Because it is known to other people that when you share your upcoming interview or any phases of your life to your family and friends, they can help you as well. Maybe they can look for another, job post and let you know that there's an opening for this certain company, right? Also, they will give you a better um support system. Whenever I do interviews before, what I notice is that um my family, even though I am the one doing the interview, I will say to them, I'm very busy right now, so I do not have the time to eat. you know when I say that to my family, to my sister, they bring me food. The support system is very good if you will share your upcoming events or interview with your family. So try those as well. Number three, release some endorphins. How do you release endorphin and why is it important? When you release endorphin in your system, you are you are relieving stress and pain. You are becoming happy. Okay, and when you are nearing an interview, I know it is very stressful, right? Especially if that is your dream company or your dream job. So how do you release endorphin? Better if before the interview, at least a day and several hours before the interview, you do a quick exercise, so that it can release endorphin and create excitement to you, not the pain but the excitement. Okay, and lastly, manifest your dream job. It is very important to manifest your dream job. I know some of the job that we saw is not our dream job. Maybe example would be, I my dream job is to be a president of a company, but I cannot do so because I am a fresh graduate. So how can I get those? Of course, you need to do a career pathing to yourself. And if you manifest your dream job, you envision your dream job, what will happen is that you will have a North Star. You will have a guidance on how you will want to draw your career in the future. Then you will know that getting a job right now is not your endpoint. Getting a salary is not your endpoint because you already picture out what you will be in the near future. So always manifest your dream job so that you can also remove your limiting beliefs and doubts in yourselves. Okay? 'Di ba, some of you will say, I didn't come from this school, siguro hanggang dito lang yung kaya ko. I didn't graduate with honors. So um ito lang kaya kong job. Maybe I cannot apply in big companies. But that's not true. If you manifest your dream job and you imagine that you already get the job, then your limiting beliefs and values will be removed at mapapalitan yan ng excitement and life. So always be excited, okay? Next would be before, okay? Before the main event or the interview happen, the night before you have to rest up. You have to rest and practice. Actually, not just a night before. Better if you will do it 3 days before and then practice it 1 week before. Practice your the question and answer portion of the job interview. Why is it important to rest up? Next slide, please. Did you know that the quantity and quality of sleep and rest have a profound impact on learning and memory? Okay, according to a Harvard research study, okay, sleep helps you to retain more information and it helps you to be more smart or smarter, sorry, to be smarter in your career choice. Okay, so when you rest, you are releasing a lot of energy to your brain and your brain will signal you to, you know um have a recall, have an acquisition of learning, and also consolidation of learning. So it is very important that you rest up. Do not cram before the interview. Do not cram, do not put so much stress on your brain, because and it also happen, diba, when you cram, sometimes mental block happens, so we don't want that. So please rest up. Next would be to practice. Okay, practicing your answer. Why do you need to practice your answer? Why do you need to practice doing interview? Practice makes you better in a lot of things. It may not make you perfect, but it will make you better and it will make you confident. Okay, so number one, when you practice your answer, it makes you comfortable talking about yourself. Some people, especially the introverted one, they have a very awkward way of bragging, or they do not want to brag themselves. And some people has those awkward ways of bragging their accomplishment. Diba, parang it's very hard na, uy, top 1 po ako. Parang there's some hiya in the Filipino sense. But when you practice your answer, you will find the right words, you will find the right cue, you will find the right phrase to really help you say your accomplishment without sounding that you are boastful or arrogant. And it is very important that you are comfortable talking those accomplishments so that the interviewer will see that you are really confident. Okay? Number two, it gives you idea on what to cover. You have to remember there are different industries out there. And when you apply for a job, you are not just applying for a role in a company. You are also applying for a role in an industry. Example will be marketing in an advertising company is very different from a company that really do products, do the production. Okay, when you are in an advertising company, the idea, or marketing idea will yield you more of communications, how to relate to the media, how to relate to the audience. But when you are in company, a mother company, or a production company, it is very different, or manufacturing company rather, it is marketing there is very different as well. They have a different function. So when you practice your answer, it gives you the idea on what to cover depending on the industry that you will come from. You will also know what main points to talk about and will not just jobber here and there doing the interview and just wasting the time of your time and also the time of your interviewer as well. It helps you with suitable words and phrases, because sometimes when we are in an interview session and you do not practice, sometimes what will happen is we use words that are very inappropriate, or sometimes that have a different meaning from what we want to express ourselves. And when you practice, you because you exude confidence, the interviewer will see that as well, and will see that your words and phrases are very relevant to what the question is. So you have to practice. Okay, and lastly, it builds confidence. As I was saying before, when you practice, it makes you feel better, and it will make you feel better, and it will make you better or do better. Then you will build confidence, because you know that question the general question is already in your mind, and you already have some general answer to those. Okay, next, the next big tip is example. What do I mean by example? As you can see in the picture, skills, people, technical. But what do I mean by example? Next slide, please. When doing interview, you have to remember that you have to cite example of your experience and skill set. Hindi pwede yung pag tinanong ka, tell me about yourself. Diba? That's the usual question. But actually, it's already phased out. Right now, it's more of a technical set. When when the interviewer asks question, you do not say a yes or no answer. It's usually an open ended. So you have to cite example, because um your experience may not be relevant to the question. But if you cite example, or you cite your experiences and skill set that you think you want to be seen by the interviewer, then that interviewer will see, oh, you prepared so much, and you already have some experiences related to the job. So number one, give concrete example of your experience or skill set related to the question. Example would be, what if an interviewer asks you, so what do you think, there's a scenario based question, so how would you say your how do you build relationship with your coworker? Okay, so instead of you saying those gibberish, or jargons. Side example, when I was in college, when I was part of an organization, I build relationship by, okay? So you already have a past experience that you can share to your interviewer. Number two, talk about your student organization, extracurricular activities, and outside engagement. Because, as a fresh graduate, I know and I understand that most of you do not have the required or the relevant experience related to the job post. But your engagement, okay, how active you are during your college or during your off time or your vacation time, it gives us a general idea what kind of a worker you will be in the future, what will be your potential. Example, your student organization and your advocacy is, or you're passionate about is, then we will have a general idea. Oh, this person or this candidate will might be a team player. She may also be helpful in terms of creating strategies because her role before in her student organization is strat communication, right? So you have to talk those as well. It gives also um, a vast idea on how you will be as a person, number one, as a worker, and number three, what will be your potential as a future leader, as a next gen leader. So talk about those as well. Next will be define your three best qualities. Actually, before, I think 5 years ago, there's still this question of what is your three best qualities, what are your worst qualities, right? But defining your three best qualities will generate detailed idea a more detailed idea about you. And because you are generating more ideas about you, and you want the interviewer to perceive you in such way, you will help your application, no? What are the top three skill set you can offer for the job? You have to remember when we say a while ago that you should do background investigation. You have those general idea of what are the skill set needed for the job role, right? So you have to define your three best qualities and relate that to the skill set and experience that you need to tell the interviewer. And next, tell your story. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Actually, you have to remember that when you're doing interview, most of the companies right now do not do what you call that, a psychological exam. Most companies do not do it right now because most company are very they do want to be relevant, and they want to understand that people will have a shorter time right now. So most of the time they just do interview and some simple qualification exam, technical exam most of the time, especially if it's a US based company. So you have to tell the story to the interviewer. Number one, it builds camaraderie. Number two, it builds emotional it builds emotional connection with your interviewer when you tell a story, because the interviewer can relate to that and can see you. Oh, this person can really communicate well and can has a very good interpersonal skill. So you have to relate those as well. Okay. Next would be awareness. Okay. Next big tip is awareness. What do you mean by this? um Awareness, be aware and be in control. Okay, to be aware of your surrounding, of yourself, of your interviewer means that you will be in control. No, next slide please. So number one, you have to listen actively and attentively to the interviewer, because sometimes what happen is, as a fresh graduate, some interviewer may use jargons. And if you are not being aware and you do not listen actively and attentively, you may get lost on the question and you may answer um a disconnected you will give a disconnected answer to the question. I'll give you an example, and this is very funny. Okay, sometimes I ask the interviewees or the candidate or the applicant, what are the three things that will make you stay in the company? Because they do not listen, maybe because they're very anxious, they're very nervous, they're very they're very focused on just to give answer to my question. They didn't listen carefully. Okay, again, the question is, what are the three things that will make you stay in a company? They will say such thing, ma'am, I'm very passionate in learning. um Ma'am, um I'm very optimistic, I'm a team player. But that's not the question, right? If you listen carefully, the question is you. What will make you stay? If ever I will hire you, what will be the reason why you will stay in my company and grow in my company? Okay? So a lot of um applicants have some issues answering those questions. Even the veteran applicants as well, or those who has experience or supervisory experience in other companies. So you have to listen actively and attentively. Okay? Next would be remove distraction and or focus on the interview. Right now, most of the situation is doing an online interview, right? Just like this, we're doing, a conversation online using Zoom or other platform. So sometimes there are some distraction. Okay, so you have to remove that. But aside from removing that, you have to also focus on the interviewer. How can you listen actively and attentively without focusing on the interviewer? Focus on the interviewer, focus on the question, and focus on what? The facial expression, the body gesture, and the eye contact. Why is it important that you need to watch those? Because sometimes when you are doing interview and you are very happy or excited to share your experiences, sometimes you do not see the facial expression of the interviewer. um it may exude that she's not interested on what you're sharing, or maybe she wants a more concrete answer, a detailed answer. So you have to watch those as well. Okay, you have to watch body gesture. If you see an interviewing doing this, it doesn't mean that the interviewer is very what do you say very keen on what you're saying. Sometimes that interviewer may be bored, and doing this in a Zoom or online interview connotes that the interviewer is what? Too relaxed or too tired. So maybe there will be an issue there. So how will you perk up? How will you create a conducive environment so that you can share whatever you want to share, and she will actively listen to you as well. Next would be check the time. Always check the time, okay? Because the interview should last 30 minutes to 1 hour only. So, and those interviewer who interviewed you, you will see that if you share a lot of answers, you will see that they are bored, or maybe they are running late, or maybe they are very anxious, right? Because they have a specific time that they need to follow, but because they are giving you a chance to really share whatever you need to share, so they are compromising. So you have to check the time as well. Okay, next would be next, please. Thank you. Do not panic. Okay, do not panic. What do I mean by this? um you should not panic even if there are questions that you don't understand, there are jargons that was used, or you experience mental block, diba? Mental blockage or whatever. Number one, if you do not understand the question, just ask. We understand as an interviewer, maybe where to you lost your connection, or maybe you do not understand the jargon that we use, or maybe we spoke too fast for your hearing. So you have to ask, and we will accommodate that. Do not worry, we understand, and we came from that situation before. Okay, number two, pause. Why do you need time to pause? Because you need time to think as well. It's like a Miss Universe question and answer portion, right? You do not need to answer immediately. You have to think of your answer, and you need to really think through of what are the word choices that you will give to your interviewer. Number three, be honest. If you do not know the answer, or you do not have that kind of relevant experience, just say so, and then back it up with, but do not worry. Okay, I'm a fast learner, and I really do want to be in your company, and I will learn whatever you need me to learn. Just be honest about it. That's fine. You are a fresh graduate, indeed, right? So number four, breathe. You have to breathe, because when you are too excited or when you are too panicky, sometimes you spoke the words or the phrases too fast, or maybe you are too loud, or that may create a bad impression to the interviewer. So you always need to breathe, okay, after each question. Or if you pause, then you breathe as well, okay? Next would be yellow. Very important to me, yellow. So what is yellow? Okay, before, in I was a professor before, an instructor in an institution. So I always, this is one of the subject that I teach, no, business communication and doing interviews. So actually baka may mga estudyante ako dyan, hello, hello, andito si Miss Lay. Okay, so why do you need what is the meaning of yellow? Okay, be proud that you are a fresh you are fresh in the job market. Okay, we understand a lot of company wants somebody who has a relevant experience, who has a work experience, but a lot of company still bank on the fresh graduate. Why? Because we understand the fresh graduate now is very different from before. You're learning now your digital knowledge now, and your other skill set is way advanced than what we have before. So be proud that you are a fresh graduate, no? So number one, wear something appropriate. Look your best self always. Before, kaya yellow yung nilagay ko dito. It's not just because you need to have a sunny personality, but before, um, doing in a being in a creative company, the one thing that I always say to my student is wear something yellow, not loud yellow. Okay, subdued yellow or neutral yellow. Why? Because there's is what you call latency and recency effect. Okay, even until now, I do a lot of interviews in a day. Sometimes 20 to 30 persons, people a day. Okay, so how can I remember those applicant? Number one, yung pinakauna ko in-interview. Most of the time, matatandaan ko yan. At yung pinakahuli. Miss Lay or Miss Lai, paano naman yung nasa gitna? That's the thing. That's the trick. If your interview is, in the middle part or in the middle hours, you have to think of something that will make you relevant, that will make you stand out, and that will make the interviewer happy. Wearing something yellow, okay, is a very good aspect of you being remembered by the interviewer. But you have to be careful. A certain yellow can be used, not a distracting yellow, but a subdued yellow, because if the interview will become distracted, then it is also not good for you. Okay, what are the other colors that you need to wear or best suit for a job interview, especially if you're a fresh graduate? Number one, color blue. Please, 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 if you are doing an on-site interview, meaning an office interview, do not wear, if you are very, you perspires a lot, you're very panicky, you're very nervous, do not wear light colored, because you have to understand, right? That when you perspires a lot, some stain happened in your clothing, so be careful with those as well. Okay, um for a girl, usually for a women and men, we want a clean face depending on the industry. Example would be in a creative company, it is okay if we can see your tattoos, we can see the different color of your hair, um different color of your hair, or even um a very different get up. But if you are usually in a corporate or maybe an engineering or architecture industry, you have to make to look as a smart casual or a corporate style. You have to look those, because hindi naman taboo to show your creative self, but you have to understand that this is an on-site or an office setting, and you have to abide with the dress code of the company. Okay, number two, smile and have a sunny disposition. Number three, look open and honest. Of course, when you're doing interview, especially during the last part, please listen to the not the objective criticism. Be honest. Actually, it is better if you ask questions, and it is better if you ask some feedback, right? And then be curious. Always be curious. Ask question. It is okay. Do not hesitate to ask question, because for us as an interviewer, we feel that you are more engaged and you are more interested to the job post if you ask question. Okay, next. Okay. So we will do a recap. We're almost on our last leg, okay, of the presentation. So do you remember what is letter B? Correct. What is it? It's a background investigation. Do background investigation or background investigate. Okay. Next would be correct. Excite. Be excited. Manifest that you already get the job. Next would be rest up and practice. Very good. Okay. Next would be example. Correct. Create example or cite example of your experiences and skill set. Next would be awareness. Letter D is do not panic. And yellow is Y is yellow. Okay? Have a sunny disposition and make sure that you wear, appropriate clothing. If you are in the creative side, wear yellow for them to remember you. Okay? I don't know if we still have time. Um, may I ask the host if we still have time so I can share some, other minor tips as well? I think we still have some time. So I'll just make it quick. I didn't get any message. So I think, yeah, we still have time. So next would be the additional tip. When you are asking, when you ask about or when the interviewer asks you about the salary expectation, or when you ask salary expectation, always remember to research first. When you giving your salary expectation, research is first. Look for the industry that you are getting into, and then research how much should you be getting if you get that position. Do not just give a certain amount. Actually, you just give a salary range and say it to the interviewer that based on my research, based on the industry that I will be working for, if ever, these are the salary bracket that I need to receive. Okay, so it will sound that you are intelligent and you are doing research. Number two, expectation and culture of the company. You have to ask that. You can also ask what is the expectation of the company to me in the first 90 days, because that will create, what do you call this, that will create a certain um what do you call this, awareness for you. Sorry, you will create a certain awareness for you what are things that needs to be done. Okay, you will also need to ask, is that position a new position, a newly open position, or you are replacing somebody? Because it will tell you, oh, there's a turnover, or attraction, or attrition in that company. It will tell you something, right? Next would be be confident but do not be too arrogant. Okay, remember, attitude is important everywhere. Correct. Especially if it's a Filipino owned company or a Filipino based company. But if it's a US company, most of the time they only look on your technical skills. But of course, attitude is very important. I remember this one scenario wherein I interview three people. At the end of it all, even though the other two is very good, very suitable for the job, we choose somebody who has a very good attitude, and we feel she will be a culture fit for the company, and until now she's still with the company. Okay, so you have to also make sure that your attitude is very appropriate during the interview, because remember, it's like courting, right? Why would you show your negative self on your first date or your dating period, right? Next will be remember the name. If the person tells you her name, remember that. It is like a very good sound to our ears if you remember our name. Oh, ano nga uling name ko? It was announced kanina, right? Nako, nakakalimutan na. Next would be expect the unexpected. There are some interviewer who ask questions. Why? We are checking if you have some humor, if you have some creativity. Example would be, I asked this during an interview in a marketing interview. During the last leg of our interview, I asked, why do you think the manhole is circular? Okay? Paisip siya. It's not relevant, right? It's not relevant to the job that you are applying for. But still I ask that question. And it doesn't mean that whatever you say will be a right or wrong answer. We are just checking sometimes your humor, or we are just checking your creativity, especially if you are in the creative side, or in a communication side of things, no, or a communication industry. Okay, and lastly, memorable closing. Okay, you already asked your question. So how can you create a memorable closing? It is very important to say more than a bye or a goodbye. Okay, uh be relevant. Okay, ma'am, it is a pleasure knowing you, and I hope that you will have a very good afternoon. Okay? So as simple as that can be a memorable closing. Or better, you state her name and you state your name. Again, ma'am, my name is Lyra and I am applying for this position. I hope that you get me because I really want to work in this company, right? So it shows that you want to be with that company. And again, the latency and the recency effect, they will it will surely the interviewer will surely remember you. And I think that will be the second to the last of my presentation, I think. Okay, I'll just leave you with this quote. No, lastly, do not be discouraged. I know a lot of you will need to be need to be interviewed a lot, and you know, as I mentioned before, practice makes you better on doing things. No, so don't be discouraged. Yahan mo lang. Practice. Focus on enhancing yourself. Focus on yourself because job interview is to stop the living in luck and start believing in yourself. Kung saan ka man galing na school, kung ano man natutunan mo sa interview, although meron siyang function and it's also important, you have to remember that it's you presenting yourself to the interviewer. Okay? So, with that, I say my goodbye and thank you so much, everyone.
Ayan, thank you so much, Laika, or Lyra, sorry, for that wonderful session. Sorry. Oh my God, bagsak ako agad sa interview, sa first interview.
Bad impression. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that impression. Yeah, thank you so much, no, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm sure, no, na a lot of our viewers here, a lot of our participants here have learned quite a lot.
I
Kasi
hope so.
yeah, kasi before, no, just to share with you, na I didn't have, or like during my time, although not too long ago naman yun siya, I wasn't able to come across like a webinar na will teach me how to ace my first interview. So kumbaga
Correct.
kapaan talaga eh. Na meron tayong like, ang daming resources online, and it's free to research about the company. It's free to research about the culture of the company. Para if our participants would really like to work with that organization,
And even
kumbaga,
if not,
yeah,
you have to research because if you do not know the company, how will you know if you do not research, right? Malay mo, dun
yeah,
ka pala suited. So, why not?
yeah, yeah.
I think you are on mute.
Hello, Yan. Can you hear
Yes.
me? Yan,
Yes.
ayun. Thank you. Yan, so, as I was saying earlier, may mga students din tayo na very, ano pa sila, magulo pa, like, undecided. Kasi
Correct.
there are talagang hindi natin may iwasan. No? For example, ako, I studied development studies. Pero, there are lots of opportunities out there for me. So, I'm not, just in a circle or like in a box na this is just like the industry that I have to work on. So,
Correct.
talagang magandang mag-research, maganda na kilalanin din natin yung sarili natin if our skill set is tumpak or is right for that kind of position or that kind of job. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And we have a few questions here
Sure.
na I think na yung iba nating mga participants here, I think you guys are shy to post your questions, but Larry is here to answer everything for you guys. So, first question na we have received here. This is from Ryla. She asked, "Do you think I can still apply for a job that requires experience, but I think I'm also qualified for it?" Yun yung number
Definitely.
one question, 'di ba? Kasi ang
Definitely.
dami na nga, as you've mentioned earlier, na ang daming mga job opportunities na, okay, they're hiring for fresh graduates, pero dapat yung fresh graduates mayroong 1 to 2 years of experience.
When
Na,
okay, to answer those questions, some of the interviewer or some of the company posted that kind of job post. It's because they want to know who will be brave enough to try on. 'Di ba? Sometimes
oh,
kasi,
okay.
especially in my company, sometimes we require 1 to 2 years. But some fresh graduates out there are more suitable for the job. Their
Mm-mm.
communication or interpersonal skill, or even the skill set that they have that they've developed during their college year, is more suitable for the job. So why not? Even though we put 1 to 2, of course we want that, because you will have a lesser training. But of
Yep.
course, we are a company that especially now,
Mm-mm.
technology is very emerging. Mostly, if you have a lot of experience, this is what I've noticed. If you have a lot of experience, especially in the traditional way, you don't have any experience in the digital world. And mostly millennial and Gen Z have that kind of advantage. So, sometimes pipiliin ko to, mas magaling to sa digital. Right now we
Yep.
are in a digital space, not digital world. So yeah, definitely.
Well, right. Yeah. So, kumbaga talagang digitized. Everything is digitized na talagang. So, is it safe to say na talagang one of the, um, kumbaga, positive na experience or positive skills na ngayon ng mga participants natin or students natin ay being adept in technology?
Correct.
Tama.
Correct.
I see. Okay, so, and also just to clarify and just to confirm, sometimes, na I want to, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes yung mga job description, trick question lang yon or
Correct.
trick,
Yes.
ooh, interesting.
And sometimes, di ba, they
Mm-mm.
put, we encourage fresh grad, pero kailangan
Oo.
5 years of experience.
Oo.
Pero bakit may nalalagay silang we encourage fresh grad? Because even though you do not have the experience, but if you have the required skill set,
Mm-mm.
again, interview
Oh.
is dating. Even though you
Oo.
feel that dehado ka, paano
Mm-mm.
pag sa interview, you know this, you are a behavioral, it's a communication, right? Um,
Mm-mm.
even though you have 5 years experience in marketing or communication, but you do not have that kind of skills, you know, um, that is very relevant to the masses, or kaya naman you're not very adept in talking or sharing your experiences, then your experience will only account for some points, but
Mm-mm.
not all of it. It's
Mm-mm.
especially if you have, even though you don't have the experience, you have the skill set. Yes, why not?
Mm. So talagang ano lang 'no, parang it just boils down to how you position yourself during that
Correct.
interview, to how you
Correct.
sell yourself. So guys, alam niyo na ngayon na. So pag may nakita kayong mga opportunities out there na they require X number of experiences, but they also encourage fresh grads, just sell yourself and just showcase the skills and the parang learning experience siguro na natutunan niyo during your college years. Thanks for that, Lyra. And another question that we have here, sabi niya, paano po ba sinasagot ang tanong na tell me about yourself? Yun yung opening question usually, di ba, ng mga HR. O tell me
Correct.
about yourself that I can't see on your resume. Yun yung laging
Correct.
tanong. Yes. Paano nga ba?
Actually, most of the time, it is being replaced na right now eh. Okay? Can you please tell me something that I do not know about yourself? 'Di ba? Ganon, hindi na tell me
Mm-mm.
about yourself kasi gas-gas na daw 'yon. You have to understand, when we ask you about tell me about yourself, it's not about your physical attributes. It's not about your um what you call this bio data. It's always about your experiences, it's always about your skill set, and it's always about what people perceive in you. Okay? So
Mm-mm.
example, tell me about yourself. You can say, my friends often tell me that I am a very generous person. I am a team player who always conduct or initiate a conversation. Something like
Mm-mm.
that. Okay? It's not something that you can see in a CV or resume or even a bio data, but it's something
Mm-mm.
about you that you are very particular about. Right?
Mm-mm. I see. Thanks for that. And another question. Um, sabi niya, how do I answer po ba? What are your weaknesses?
Okay.
Di
Alam
ba?
mo, actually, I thought this before, no, in my classes
Mm-mm.
talaga. When you are projecting weaknesses, it shouldn't be really a real weakness, okay? Or you can state your weakness, but you have to say that you are learning to change that. Example would be, I am, instead of you saying, say, introvert,
Mm-mm.
change it to, I am a very observant ma'am. I do not say my piece immediately. I always
Mm-mm.
observe and listen first. So, and I always analyze things first. Okay? Introvert, change mo into diba, a positive pa rin. Even
Oo.
though, yes, sometimes it's a weakness. But you know, all weaknesses is not really a weakness. It's just you, a trait of you that you can take on an in an advantage way, right? You
Mm-mm.
can use that in your advantage.
So you mean to say, like, for example, um, whenever a student or whenever an interviewee says a weakness, so they should make sure na yung weakness na yon, they can also turn it into their strength.
Correct.
Tama.
I'll give you one more example. I, as
Mm-mm.
a person, um, sabi nila I'm very talkative. Obvious naman, diba? Pero, dati, yun ang sinasabi nila. And I say that. But you have to change. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, you have to practice your answer. Because
Mm-mm.
instead of saying talkative, diba? What can you say about being a talkative? That's a weakness. Pero change it into something good, but still relevant to being talkative. What is that? I am always confident in saying my piece. Whenever
Mm.
I think that I am, what you call this? I am correct. Okay? So,
Mm-mm.
make it sound like that. So, titignan nila, you are a very strong person, but yet, talkative ka. Ganon.
I
Position it
see.
in something
Oo.
positive pa din.
Mm-mm. So guys, alam niyo na guys ha, yung weaknesses nyo, kumbaga it's there's nothing wrong naman talaga no with showing weaknesses as long as you know that those weaknesses can be turned into your strength and
Yes.
at the
But
end of the
I have a caveat pala with that, no?
mm,
If it's really a weakness of you, turn it into something that you are learning to change that. Example would be, you know, Miss Lyra, before, I am a person who really do not listen to others. O, di ba? Pangit
mm,
pakinggan. But right now, because of the experience that I had, especially during COVID, or sharing your experience, your story, I learned to listen to a lot of people because those experiences that I learned from them, I can use that in my future. Yung mga tipong
mm,
ganon. Okay?
mm. And I think the plus points din yun no sa interview kasi it shows na your willingness to learn,
Correct.
'di
And you're
ba?
honest. You're
Oo,
honest.
totoo. Isa pa yun. And then, here, meron pa tayong question here. What can I ask the interviewer if they say, do you have any questions for me? Kasi di ba
Okay.
usually yun yung mga yun yung mga end question aside dun sa mga trick question or mga surprise question na, okay,
Correct.
before the end of the interview, okay, do you have any questions for me? So ano nga ba talaga yung yung pwede nating itanong sa kanila?
Depending on what type of interviewer he or she will be, you can ask about salary expectation. Okay, what is the salary bracket? You can ask
Mm-mm.
about the culture. Very good. You can ask about the job role. More entails about job roles, and also what are the 90 days expectation of you. You have to ask those because
Mm-mm.
it will sound that you are very what, engaging and
Yeah.
interested on the job post, no? So those are the questions that you can ask. You can also ask some of the policy or even ways of working of the company. What is a
Mm-mm.
usual day-to-day work work here in the company, no? So you can ask those questions, but you have to be careful when you ask those, especially when you ask about salary bracket. You have to ask
Mm-mm.
those because if it's a technical interviewer, you should not ask those questions to those people, no? Yung mga hiring manager, hindi mo dapat tinatanong to. Sa HR mo yan tinatanong. Sa hiring manager, focus on your technical skill. Like example, what is your day-to-day work experience here? Okay? Or
Mm-mm.
what will be the usual 90 days expectation? Yan, pwede mo
Oo.
yan. Okay?
I see. And paano naman daw or like how should they answer if they were given a question? Why should we not hire you?
Okay. Oh, that's actually a
Mm.
very tough question. So
Mm.
most of the time, why the answer will be okay. hindi ko na kasi ito ginagamit. Before, I asked those
Mm-mm.
questions as well. Pero the problem with that question kasi is that you want to sell negatively, and we don't practice negative selling of ourselves when we're doing interview. But if that question is being asked of you, simple lang, say your weakness, but always attach. But you know,
Mm-mm.
ma'am, if you will not hire me, um, there's a possibility that you are parang throwing away somebody who can be a gem in your future, situation of the company. So make it that
Mm-mm.
way. Say your weakness, but at the same time, turn it into something what will be in the future if you will not be
Mm-mm.
hired, di ba? Yon.
I see. And speaking of salary, earlier you've mentioned na dapat sa mga HR personnel natin ina-ask no yung mga
Correct.
salary bracket and all. So, someone asked here if they can negotiate ba daw
Yes,
if
of course.
salary discussion na. Kasi yun
I'll
yung
give you an
nakakahiya
example.
eh.
I'll give you an
Diba?
example.
Hmm.
Depending on the industry, okay? If it's a construction industry and you are an office person, usually minimum to 15 to 18,000. If you are a fresh graduate, I'll just give you a bracket. If it's in a PR marketing, it's a very lucrative business, so they can offer
Mm-mm.
much more. But again, depending on the industry, you will have a very different bracketing of your salary,
Mm-mm.
of the cap. So when you ask, ma'am, since kunyari sinabi ni interviewer sa'yo, our salary is usually 15 to 18,000. Ma'am, can I negotiate? I think
Mm-mm.
with my skill set and based on the research that I've made, I can cap up to 20,000 pesos. Can I have that as a salary? And
Mm-mm.
then you explain your side naman. Why do you think you deserve a 20,000 pesos for a 15 to 18,000 cap? Right? It depends
Mm-mm.
again
Mm-mm.
kung paano mo ipoposition yung sarili mo. Okay, example would be, ma'am, I'm also knowledgeable even though parang grade 1 level of Mandarin or Korean. Oh, diba? You have a special
Ah.
skill that they can use, and it can add premium to your salary. So depending
Mm-mm.
on what capabilities you have, you can actually negotiate.
I see. So, thank you. Sana alam ko yan. Sana alam ko yan before. Hindi kasi, di ba, ngayon yung mga
14 years
students
ago,
talaga,
sana alam ko rin.
di ba? Hindi kasi nakakahiya minsan, no? Na like, for example, okay, JO na, job offer, and this is your salary. Parang, wala nang magawa yung mga, natin, yung mga
Correct.
students, yung mga fresh grads na hindi pala nila alam na pwede palang mag-negotiate ng offer.
That is the reason.
Or,
When you're doing interview, you have to share it to your family, friends, or somebody who you can trust in terms of that position, because they can give you advice. Okay, ang alam ko nung nag-start ako ganito yung salary, pero kasi digitalized na tayo ngayon eh. So you have to ask that, and don't be scared to ask in Facebook ha. Maraming mga groups, no? Yung mga fresh graduate page that you can ask. Yung mga ganyan, pwede mong i-ask kasi sila magbibigay sa'yo kung ano yung actual na nare-receive ng mga tao ngayon.
Oh, I see. Pero ito, actually, ito wala, while waiting for, for some questions from our participants. Ito, personal question ko to.
Sure.
Kasi ito talaga yung, question ko nung fresh grad ako. Is it also okay, or parang, is it okay to ask the HR person, yung initial interview or kaya yung second interview na, what is your salary bracket?
You're asking the HR?
The HR, oo. Meron bang gano'n? Like, kasi, syempre ngayon sa TikTok, no, ang daming nagsasabi na, although ito sa industry to sa US or like yung environment to sa US na you can ask daw the HR kung ano daw yung salary range for that specific position. So, does it also apply here in the Philippines?
I thought what you're saying, sorry, from what I understand, is you're asking HR kung magkano yung sahod ng HR.
Ay, hindi. Hindi, for that position. Ano yung salary range ng position?
Of course. Actually, better if you can ask that. Example would be in the PR industry, tatanungin mo, ikaw, sa communication ka, right? Or org-com. If you're an org-com in a company, tas fresh graduate ka, ganitong pagtatanong mo, I know, I understand that I'm a fresh graduate, but what is your salary bracket for first 6 months, and then those who have a relevant experience of 6 months to 1 year? You can ask those. At HR will answer those, no? Hindi pwedeng hindi niya i-answer. Remember, hindi lang kayo ang nakikipag-date sa amin. Kumbaga, hindi lang kayo pumipili sa amin, dapat din piliin nyo kami at piliin namin kayo. So we need to be
Oo.
honest with each other. If the HR say to you that it's something, what you call this, it's something, ano tawag doon?
Paano pag sinabi niyang we
Secret,
cannot discuss? Oo, yon.
HR na siya, then there's
Oo.
something wrong with what they can offer. Ibig sabihin, they can offer you lower to the industry.
Oo.
And would you want somebody or something or some company who cannot disclose such things to you?
Mm-mm.
It is very important that they disclose such thing, because remember, that is your future career. So
Yeah.
if they do not disclose that, hindi sila transparent, ika nga, or hindi sila honest, there's something wrong. Okay?
So,
There's
kumbaga red
something
flag
wrong
na
with
yun.
organization. At ang masama pa nangyayari kasi, do not just give, ito wag nyo tong gagawin ha, do not just give a certain amount. I'm okay with 10,000 pesos. Most company, pag sinabi mo yun, especially Filipino company, will just give you 10,000. What if the bracket is 15,000 pala?
Yeah.
So you have to give,
talaga,
diba?
no?
Yes,
Totoo.
yes. And that's not bad, ha? That's not bad. It's just that that's your asking, and I think your asking is, pasok pa rin naman siya sa cap namin. So we will give you that. Diba? So do not give a certain amount. Just give a bracket or a range.
So, would you advise ba na i-ask muna ni interviewee or the fresh grad yung salary bracket before telling their expected salary range?
No. Better if you ask the salary bracket. Do not tell your salary bracket. Okay? When the HR asks you what is your salary expectation, you can return the question back. Ma'am, may I ask for this position, what is your salary bracket? Because from what I researched, it is ranging from, give always yung highball, from say 15,000 to 25,000 pesos, give and take, ma'am. Is that something that you can give or more? And what other benefit? Do not forget the benefit, guys. What are the benefits that I can get together with that salary bracket? Okay? Ganon ang pag-a-ask ng question.
Okay, so now medyo naliwanagan ako. And of course, siguro yung mga participants natin. So, pag talagang hindi din-disclose yung salary bracket, so, medyo urong na ba ang mga fresh grads natin?
Hindi man urong, but you have to research on that company. Why would, especially if it's a listed company, it's okay if they can offer 12,000 pesos. That's okay. Depending on the industry. But the mere fact that they are not transparent about it, and they want you to course through with the interview. Actually, there's a possible reason. Maybe because at the end of it all, sa sobrang gusto nila sa'yo, they can offer much. Okay? Kaya wag mo rin sabihin kagad na hindi na. Research on that company. If you see positive reviews on different sites, then maybe it's something that the first interviewer, second interviewer do not have the diba, the voice to tell you that. Pero sa CEO pala magbibigay, especially if it's a position that is under a different department. So yeah.
Okay. So thanks for that, Lyra. No? And another question that we have here, although I think na nasagot mo na to earlier, if pwede ba daw mag-ask ng question sa interviewer, or siguro ano pa yung mga, aside from the ones that you've mentioned earlier, ano pa daw yung pwede siguro i-ask sa interviewer?
Number 1 would be, what is your employer branding? Number 2 would be, what I want to ask is that, what are the benefits of the company? You have to ask that, the benefit package, because some people, we have a different needs, especially the Gen Z right now. Hindi porket yung isa is kailangan yung buong pamilya niya makasama sa benefit package. Yung isa kasi gusto niya travel package eh. Yung iba naman ang gusto nila future, right? Parang magkakaroon ng what you call this, mga insurance and whatnot. So you have to ask those. Even the leaves, you can ask, how many leaves can I get in a year if I get regularized? Or do you do regularization? How many months do you do regularization? You can ask those, because the mere fact that you are asking those, meaning that you're very interested in the company, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean when you ask question that you are criticizing them. You just want to know the overall environment and culture of the company, so you can ask those. But what you cannot ask is actually you can add pala inclusivity and diversity. Do you accept a person with disability? You can ask those kasi makikita mo rin eh, 'di ba? Pero ang hindi mo pwedeng i-ask yung individual. Okay?
Yeah.
Individual personality na meron ng mga tao. Because
Mm-mm.
it's something that, we have a very attitude and behavior towards a certain person. Eh, 'di
Yep.
ba? So you cannot ask those, or you cannot ask you cannot ask if you can actually specifically pinpoint ano lang ang pwede mong trabaho. You cannot
Mm-mm.
ask those. Okay? Kasi remember, we are in the new normal right now. Hindi ka pwedeng, example, nag-apply ka as orgcom, hindi ka pwedeng box lang or structure lang doon.
Yeah.
You have to be a team player, and you have to have another skill set, because right now, because there's a great resignation but also a great redundancy in a lot of company. They want
Mm-mm.
somebody who can be upskilled, or who can give another skill that they can offer to the company. Again, if you have a lot of skills, there's a lot of chance that you will get more.
Mm-mm.
So don't box
Okay.
yourself.
Okay, so guys, take note of that. Don't box yourself and know your worth, I guess. No? Talagang kahit even different colleges, different universities, where you have your own individual skill set na you can also give to the company, or you can contribute to the company. So,
And lastly, ang
mm-mm.
pinaka-importante dito is, if you're a fresh graduate, focus more on the learning rather than the
Yeah.
salary that you can get. Always the learning.
Mm-mm.
Example, what they can offer is a minimum salary.
Mm-mm.
And that's within the law, 'di ba? That's the
Yep.
policy. That's the Philippine law. But they can offer you a lot of training that you can use
Yeah.
in 2 to 3 years time in another company for a supervisory or managerial position. Then take it. That's what I did. That's why as early as 22 years old, I'm already a manager, an HR
Oh.
manager. Yeah, because I
Mm-mm.
took, like, dati 6,000 pa nga eh, compared to other company na
Oo.
15,000 ang offer. So I
Mm-mm.
took those because what I want is something that will enhance myself. And don't forget to
Yeah.
always study and be a lifelong learner. I
Mm-mm.
remember when you read my bio data,
Yes.
my CV, um I took a lot of skills and
Yeah.
certification for
Good
myself.
for you.
And why I did that, because if I want to position myself in a better future, right now pa lang, kayo mga fresh graduate, kunin nyo na ngayon. Number one, communication, different languages, because different languages can offer as high as 50,000 premium pag may
Mm-mm.
second language ka, international language, 'di ba? And other certification like project management or kaya communication certification, it can offer a lot of add-on to your salary.
Okay, so talagang ano muna tayo. Let's focus more on our career development, professional development. Kasi I think at the end of the day, or like a few years may pass, and hindi na naman masyado magfo-focus sa, sa salary, your previous salary, but more on the learnings na nakuha mo from all of those
Don't be
certifications, from
stagnant.
all of, yeah, that's true. And here, actually, ito siguro number one question din to ng mga participants natin. Sabi niya dito, good afternoon, Ma'am Lyra. What is the average number of days na pag-antay ng response from HR after mag-pass ng application?
I like that question. Usually, in other companies, because they are already digitalized, 2 to 3
Mm-mm.
days is already um, um, process na yung paper mo. Some is within 1 week and some within 2 weeks. There are some company who posted application processing is about 2 weeks to 1 month. And why? Magtataka ka, bakit sa company na to 2 weeks, yung iba 1 month, yung iba 3 days? You have to understand, multinational company, especially whose direct reporting to is in abroad, or 'di ba, in a multinational company, it will it will course through different department pa. But if it's a tech startup company, mas mabilis. Yun nga lang, you will not have a hard time researching din dun sa company na yon. 'Di ba? Ang problema kasi sa mga tech company or startup company ngayon, sa sobrang bilis nila, tatanggapin mo o hindi, parang you do not have the ability to, pwede bang wait muna, maghintay muna ako sa ibang mga offer. So yon, but
Oo.
it depends on the industry. For example, a marketing company, usually 1 week, top na yan, one week to 10 days. For construction company, based on my application before and my experience before, usually 2 weeks, because you will need to undergo trainings and
Mm-mm.
trade tests. If it's
Mm-mm.
in a ano pa ba? Ano pa yung mga industry? Hospitality industry, 1 week to
Mm-mm.
2 weeks din as well.
I see. So, Okay, pero ito another question na ito personal na naman kasi we're still waiting for the questions of our participants. And while I ask this question to Lyra, guys, can you please comment your takeaway? So, ano ba yung number one lesson na you've learned from this session? What's your key takeaway and the thing that you will also apply when you get your first job interview? Pero anyway, Lyra, just wanted to ask for the benefit of our participants. How would you know if failed ka na? Like for example, 'di ba, at the end of the interview, they will say, "Okay, we'll call you or we'll give you updates." Pero sometimes may mga HR na nang ghost. Hindi
Correct.
totoo 'yun, 'di ba? So how would you know when it's time to move forward with another application from
If
another
if
organization?
within 1 week you do not get any call, any message from
Mm-mm.
the HR within 1 week to 10 days, then it
Mm-mm.
means that they already source another one. But the good thing right now, because usually we apply it digital na talaga, like in LinkedIn, they have
Mm-mm.
this predisposed message already that after they shortlisted, sasabi talaga sa iyo, standard messaging that we unfortunately you are not qualified for the job. But if it's like sabihin na natin traditional company, you have to wait at least 2 weeks. If
Mm-mm.
if you really want that job, then you can ask two. Only to ha, maximum two na to. Maximum two updates. Do you have
Mm-mm.
updates for the job? Kasi you have to understand, some HR or some company has a bulk of applicants. So hindi yan
Mm-mm.
basta masisend lahat, especially
Yeah.
if ang ginagawa nila is personal message to everybody. So pag
Mm-mm.
sinabi nilang we will call you, you will have ano kagad din, 50-50 chance,
Mm-mm.
most likely hindi ka pasok sa company or nandun ka sa parang lowest part ng ranking. Pero
Yeah.
pag ito ang maririnig mo pag gusto ka nila, in 3 days time I will ask our CEO to interview you, or in 1 week's time I will send a feedback about technical skills. If that is a
Mm-mm.
first interview and they say those, alam mo na napasok ka sa first interview. Actually, you
Yeah.
can even ask the HR or the hiring manager after the interview session. You can ask directly, ma'am, may I ask for a feedback?
Mm-mm.
Can I do you think I is there a possibility that I will get hired in this position?
Mm-mm.
That way you are positioning yourself, you are making that person, the interviewer, divulge to you, actually we have 4 more applicants that we need to interview, and we are shortlisting 4 applicants, so we will update you. So you
Yeah.
know already, if that's the hiring manager already and they have 4 applicants to look into, after 2 weeks di ka binalikan, nakapili na yan dun sa apat. Ganun lang.
Mm-mm. I see. And ito, siguro, in connection to that question, no, sabi ni Alia, does the HR tell ba daw the applicant na they want or they don't want you for the job?
Okay, that's a
Like,
very good question.
mm-mm.
To be honest with you, I myself, if it's a fresh graduate, I always give feedback. Actually, sasabihin ko na
Okay.
kagad, alam mo, you're not qualified. But here's the thing. I want you to do better in your next job, because I'm a teacher as well eh. So sinasabi ko,
Mm-mm.
kanina masyado kang nervyosa sa pagsagot. So you have to
Yeah.
make sure that you are sure with your answer. Next thing is, hindi maayos yung posture mo. Even sa Zoom call, hindi ka mukhang, sorry for the word, pero hindi ka mukhang enticing. Kumbaga
Mm.
sa tsokolate, hindi ka mapipili. So
Okay.
you have to change your hairstyle, you have to you wear makeup, you have to a lot of things. Pero may mga HR na hindi sasabihin yan, because number
Yep.
one, hindi naman masungit sila or what, no? It's because they're very busy. Sabi ko
Yep.
nga sa inyo, may iba 20 to 30 people lang ini-interview a day. Ako minsan up to 50 pa. But you can ask. You can
Mhm.
ask as long as you ask naman nang hindi ka makulit pakinggan, and it will not take a lot of time of that person. Yes, you can ask,
Mm-mm.
ma'am, is there a possibility that I will be hired in this position? What is my chance? Give me at least a percentage.
Mm-mm.
And when an HR say that you have a 50% chance, more likely hindi ka na matatanggap doon. Kasi 50% chance is just 50-50, right?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Hindi ka man lang umangat. So, ibig sabihin, among 10 applicants, nandun ka sa pang-5. So, may 5 isusort or isu-shortlist,
Yeah.
'di ba? So, yun ang matatanggap, most likely. Pag saka sila umayaw, doon ka lang, there's a possibility na isu-shortlist ka for that position.
Mm-mm. Okay, so thank you so much, Lyra. And guys, don't forget to comment your key takeaways sa session natin to. And I think na it will also help you, no, na Lyra, na, gauging kung ano nga ba yung perspective ngayon ng mga fresh grads natin or
Correct.
mga incoming fresh grads. Kasi, as you've mentioned earlier, dapat tayong lahat lifelong learner.
Correct.
So, 'di ba? So, guys, comment your key takeaways, comment your thoughts, your learnings about this session, and this is such a great space para we can learn from each other. So yeah, thank you so much, Lyra, for your time, and thank you for that wonderful session talaga. Na even me, na-enlighten ako sa mga kaganapan sa HR industry or like yung HR perspective mismo. And of course, to our participants here, you will be receiving your um, e-certificate. Just fill out this form. Hold on, let me pull up my screen here again. There you go. Ayan. So again, thank you so much, Lyra, and to our participants, thank you so much. So please fill out or scan the QR code for you to get your e-certificate. So before we end, Lyra, do you have any other, parang closing words to our participants here?
Very simple. I know a lot of you still have a lot of questions, and if given a chance, in the future, I can discuss those. So you can actually email me, or connect with me in LinkedIn. Okay, Lyra Calyanta. Just type Lyra Calyanta, and I think ako lang yung may pangalang ganon. So yeah, and ask me such question. I will gladly answer anything that you want to ask.
Right. Thank you so much, Lyra. And of course, to our participants right now from Facebook Live, from YouTube, from your own career portal, we'll be having another Career Talk Thursday next week. So be sure to check your emails for the link of the live stream. So thank you so much, everyone.